Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about, and of course, we're going to continue to talk about the battle for Los Angeles and what's going on. And there's been a lot of developments since we last spoke, and we'll cover them and take your calls. But, this talk of arresting Gavin Newsom, President Trump was asked a question like from 50 feet, 100 feet away, and you can barely hear his response. And he says, if I was Tom Homan, I'd think about it. I'd consider it. But this question, should Gavin Newsom be arrested? And what's President Trump doing in Los Angeles? Well, of course, he's doing exactly what we elected him to do. But here is the story, all right? And I'm watching all of this cable news coverage, and none of them are hitting on it. The entire Democrat Party is a criminal organization. It is an organized criminal organization. The things that they're doing are not partisan divides. What they're doing on many levels is criminal. And it's amazing to me, this mild reference, when Trump was asked, he didn't volunteer it, should Gavin Newsom be arrested? And he says, if I was Tom Homan, I'd think about it. I'd consider it. It's driven the media and the Democrats nuts. They didn't seem to mind when the Biden regime arrested a president of the United States twice, got a mugshot, and broke into his house. Why is it okay to arrest Trump, but not Newsom or Comey? It's because, Comey's a registered Republican, but he's part of the establishment behind the scenes. But Newsom is a Democrat, and Democrats have immunity from anything. But the entire Democrat Party is a criminal organization. And I was watching some of the coverage on CNN, and the left have realized that the illegals running around, burning down Los Angeles and spraying terrible graffiti and things everywhere, carrying Mexican flags and waving Mexican flags is bad imagery. So they're doing everything they can do to get control of that situation. They're trying to get them to carry American flags. On CNN, they're having these bizarre discussions. Well, that's just the flags of their heritage. I didn't hear them say that when J6ers had the Gadsden flag, or some had the Confederate flag, which is not even the official flag of the Confederacy. I didn't hear them say, oh, that's a flag of their heritage and it's meaningless other than their heritage. They were making a great big deal about the flags. In fact, Democrats, liberals, and the media have taken great offense at the flag of the United States. I remember when Operation Iraqi Freedom was going on. And I can't remember if it was the Army or the Marines. It was either the United States Army or the United States Marine Corps. I cannot remember which one, but they liberated the University of Baghdad. And I was watching this live on television, and it might have been Peter Jennings. Was Peter Jennings still alive? I was watching it live on television, and I remember it like it was yesterday because I was with Steve Kane when this happened. We were in our studio in Coral Springs. Remember our Coral Springs studio, the Adams World studio, guys? And we were off the air. The show was over, and we were doing production work, recording some commercials, and we had the TV on, and we were watching it. And I can't remember if it was the Army or the Marines. You can tell me which. And they had just liberated the University of Baghdad, and there was a big old statue of Saddam Hussein. And I think it was the Marines, but if it was Army, you guys can correct me. The Marines or soldiers, two of them climbed this humongous statue, which was about the size of the statue of Thomas Jefferson at the Jefferson Memorial. It was massive. And they had some type of crane that the military had that they climbed up on. And they took an American flag out of their jacket and put it on the statue over the face of Saddam Hussein. And I was watching this, and I'm pretty sure it was Peter Jennings. And he was, now, Peter Jennings, while he was the anchor of ABC News, was from Canada. He was so upset. He's like, we are not conquerors in America. The flag should not be there. He was pissed. Yeah, it was the Marines. He was pissed. And then they started this discussion. It was live about the inappropriateness of the American flag that the Marines had. And then a couple minutes later, the Marines climbed back up and took the flag down. And Peter Jennings was very proud of himself and said, oh, somebody must have gotten on the radio and told them how inappropriate it was and to take it down. Remember that? Oh, my goodness. When in the aftermath of 9/11, when the media were camped outside the fallen Trade Center, and they were, and this was early on, by the way, they were still hoping to find survivors inside the collapsed buildings. CNN sent a memo out that none of their reporters should be wearing American flags, even though they're Americans reporting there, because CNN is an international news outlet and we don't want to show bias towards the people who are dead inside the buildings in America. Remember that? Yeah. Before all that, the Democrats, remember they had that idiot who was suing to have God taken out of the Pledge of Allegiance, and they've been opposed to the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States. They've always been advocating against that. That used to be a big issue with Democrats. But with the Mexican flag, there's all this respect paid. Oh yes, this is their heritage, and we should respect their heritage, blah, 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 blah. They just hate America, okay? And also on CNN, I heard this whole discussion. It was insane to me on CNN. They're trying to say, well, of course, these are Americans exercising their rights to protest. Really, part of the right to protest is burning things down. Did you see the looting in the stores? The dumpsters, the cars, the police cars, the graffiti on public property, on government property. Oh, my goodness, no. But that's not protected speech there. That's vandalism and destruction. But they're trying to say on CNN, well, these they may be of Mexican descent with these flags, but they're Americans. You'd have to be a fool to be out there and not have papers and protest. You get deported, even if you're a legal resident. What President Trump is doing is there's a great number of things he's doing. Okay, one. He's showing the American people what's happened to our great country. I was telling you at the open of yesterday's show, the United States has been invaded by illegal invaders. That's right. Parts of it, like Southern California, have been conquered and occupied by these invaders. And having children here that they have in the schools, they're colonizing our country. And that is a fact. And we can go through the numbers and say some say 15 million, some say 20 million, some say more illegals in the country. To actually see what's happened to the state that gave us two great Republican presidents, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I said Richard Nixon. He was a great man and a great president. He should never have resigned. He was not involved in the Watergate break-in. But President Trump wants the American people to see what's happened to our country. That is Mexican-occupied U.S. territory. That's it. Part of America has fallen. And the Democrats are in a panic because those are their constituents. And this talk of arresting Gavin Newsom, every action of the Democrat Party has been illegal. The Great Replacement Theory is true. The Democrats years ago, during the Obama era of for a long time, all the way through the end of Obama's second term, the Democrats could not understand why working people and middle class people, I know I know Mark Levin doesn't like to use middle class, upper class, working class, because that's right out of I know, but that's what we use today. But the Democrats couldn't understand why so many working class and middle class people were going to these Trump rallies. and supporting Republicans because they believe their own rhetoric that the Republican Party is the party of the rich, when actually it's the Democrat Party that's the party of the rich. Didn't you see Goldie Hawn's son out there yelling at the ICE people yesterday? Kurt Russell's son. Oh my goodness, what a disgrace. He's a mediocre actor. Even though both of his parents are movie stars, he's not handsome. But he was in a movie where he played Kurt Russell as a young man. Or not a movie, a miniseries on Apple TV a year or so ago, the Godzilla series, which was pretty good. Because Kurt Russell was in it, not him. His son can't act that well. But anyway, what they've been doing is they woke up one day and said, and this had to do with the Trump era, we can't win these people over. They don't understand. We need to replace them. There's too many white people in the country, and if we can reduce the white majority, then we can get back in power. And that's when the massive, in the last 4 years, the complete opening of the southern border happened. Now, it's been going on in Southern California for decades and decades. But don't forget this. Cesar Chavez himself was against the illegals coming across the border. In fact, Cesar Chavez, whose daughter is a sellout to his name and movement, worked for Biden and all these people. Cesar Chavez, because he was a union organizer, a union leader, the farm workers, he didn't want these illegals coming here and even led groups to the border patrolling it to keep the illegals out. You don't learn that in school, but it's true. They were bringing in millions in an attempt to reduce the white majority. And they were calculating how they were doing it. Why do you think they have so many Somalians in these small towns in my home state of Ohio? They're trying to turn Ohio into a blue state. That's why. Now, I want to tell you guys about Mike Lindell and My Pillow. I was asking people in the live chat on my YouTube video before the show, what's the must-have product, like the one thing you got to have from My Pillow? And there were several things people said, but the most common one was actually the pillow itself. That's true. Guys, there's huge discounts right now with our promo code Kane at checkout at mypillow.com, Kane on the My Pillows. Get those. It changed your life. They also make great gifts, and there's time to order for Father's Day. You could do a rush delivery, but My Pillows make great gifts all year long. And, you can use our promo code Kane on all the specials there. But let me tell you, my wife and I, we give My Pillows as a gift to people regularly, and we have for years. People love them. And it's the one gift we give. When we give My Pillow products, in particular the pillows, it's the gift that people remember and keep and use year after year, and they always tell you about it. Okay? Now, the other, the other gifts you get people, do they even remember them? Do you even remember what you got for Christmas this year? Do you remember what you got for your birthday or Father's Day last year? If you got a My Pillow, you'd remember. So go to mypillow.com. Huge savings on all the different types of My Pillows. I have them all. They're all spectacular. Use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and take advantage of the great deals. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back. Okay. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, okay, guys? Absolutely. And welcome to everyone who's new. Let's see. Yes, welcome, welcome. Okay. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free and is pinned in the chat. Well, they've been attempting to reduce the white majority illegally, okay, by bringing in illegals. And then I'll explain when we get back. I didn't get into all of it because we had the break. I'll explain when we get back. Linda, thank you for that super chat. Linda in Tennessee. Thank you so much, Linda. I'll explain how they're doing it. Yeah, it really has. If McGregor becomes president, their country can be saved. We'll be back in 1 minute. I'll explain it all when we get back. Coming back. We're back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. So back to the great replacement theory. Somebody asked me during the break, what's wrong with whites being the minority? Okay. I have one child who's not white, so all of my grandchildren and descendants forever will not be white. So I am not, so I guess I'm helping in some way. But what the Democrats are doing is criminal, okay? When the Democrats, what they're doing is an election strategy for a power grab. They have they spent 4 years illegally bringing millions of illegal people here who are not white, okay? And they brought them here and set them up in a life of dependence on the government. Section 8 housing, Obama phones, money every month. You don't have to work. They're basically retired. Their kids get a free education all the way through college, right? That's what they did was illegal. It's not people that are, having babies the natural way and doing this. It's not... It's not people getting involved in interracial relationships. They're illegally bringing people into this country who are non-white to do just that, reduce the white majority. And that's wrong, and it's illegal, and it's highly criminal. And anyone who is a party to it is indeed a criminal. Just because they're the governor or a president doesn't mean that they're above the law. And that's what's going on here. All right, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. So Pam Bondi went on Fox last night.
The cinder block case, Sean. Remember that case? We have breaking news right now. The case where the guy was breaking up the cinder blocks and he was throwing them at police cars. The federal officer had injured his hand. He was wearing a mask. The FBI has identified him. Bill Isaly, our incredible U.S. attorney out there working with ATF, DEA, and the FBI have been doing a remarkable job. That guy has just been identified, and they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak. And he has been identified. See his face. He is going to be on, his name is Reyes. He is going to be on the most wanted list. You have broken the news. His face is out there right now. That's him. He has been identified by great police work by the FBI. So you can run. You can't hide. We are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you loot, if you spit on a police officer, we're coming after you.
Yeah, and these Democrats, they feel so entitled. Now, these groups in Los Angeles are a mix, okay? Some of them are Democrat activists like Antifa and regular Democrat activists, and many of them are illegals that are out there. Not all of them are illegal. Just because they have brown skin doesn't mean they're illegal, but a lot of them are illegal. Some of them are anchor babies. Some of them are paid Democrat activists. But see, what we have going on here are Democrats who are instigating violence. They got one guy who was giving out the locations of the ICE raids to the demonstrators so they could go and harass. They got him. He was identified. They got him. The Democrat Party is a criminal party, guys. It is a criminal party. The entire tactics of their entire, and this isn't new today. This is just the first time they've been held accountable for it. And a lot of these Democrats have been doing crimes so long under the guise of political activism that they don't even realize it's criminal. That's why, we want to get people identified from January 6th, because we know for a fact that there were radical Democrat activist Antifas in MAGA gear that were very much involved in breaking in and everything at the Capitol on January 6th, okay? Republicans don't behave that way. Antifa do. And I want to tell you, they try to get one of these pro-illegal immigrant rally things going in Tampa, and it fizzled out. They're trying to get them started in other places around the country. Do not go to them. Do not go to these events. If you hear about one of these rallies in your town, do not go. They want you to go so they can get an incident going. But this talk about arresting these Democrats, like Governor Newsom, they're instigating violence. Here is the very soft-spoken, all of a sudden, lifelong communist and mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, yesterday. Listen to this. Now, her city's being burned down. Her police cars are being burned. Her business owners are having their businesses looted and their inventory stolen.
We need to stop the raids. This should not be happening in our city. It is not warranted, and the only thing it does is contribute to chaos. This was chaos that was started at Washington, D.C. On Thursday, the city was peaceful. On Friday, it was not, because of the intervention of the federal government.
No, that's not true. In fact, the federal government, the soldiers were not there on Friday. What you're not supposed to do, ICE raids. CNN, they're having all their friends on from California, all the activists, and one of the local organizers in Los Angeles said this is the first ICE raid that they know of in the garment district. Isn't that something? This is just like that. You guys know the great movie, The Untouchables, with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery? Remember when they did that raid and they found, what did they find? Umbrellas, and Elliot Ness looked stupid, and Sean Connery said, everybody knows where the booze is, and he took them across the street from the police station, and they found that warehouse full of the liquor. Remember that first raid that he did in that movie? Everybody knows where the illegals are. They just don't go there to arrest them. When I was young, these raids on sweatshops and things that we see going on, this was common. This was a common thing out west in California and here. We used to see immigration raids all the time by immigration agents, Border Patrol. All the time. Here in Florida, too. Don't you guys remember that? When you were young, I do. And they went out for a while. So this isn't new, but it hasn't happened in a long time. But remember, when they do a raid on workers that are illegals, they're liberating slaves. Remember that. These are, these garment district sweatshops, and I haven't heard anyone use the word sweatshop during all of this that were raided. These are slaves. Yeah, they're paid a couple dollars. It's a different kind of slavery than we had a long time ago. But what ICE is doing is liberating slaves, the illegal workers, and apprehending their overseers. That's what's going on here. Slave overseers, and those slave overseers are pretty bad people. They always have been. If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. I was talking with Dr. Appleton yesterday, and actually I'm going to meet with him soon. He's going to give me more details on this, about those of you that have been in accidents, like car accidents and such, and how we can help you. And I'm looking forward to finding out exactly what he does to help those that have been in car accidents. I've been in car accidents in the past, and you need a good doctor. And I know that Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain 7 times, and God forbid I'm ever in another car accident, he's going to be my first call, is Dr. Appleton. But today I'm going to talk about, so if you've been in a car accident, give him a call. But like I said, I'm going to meet with him. He's going to tell me everything he does for those of you that have been in accidents. And I'm sure it's not just car accidents, any kind of accident. And I'll be sharing the details of that with you. But if you've been in any type of accident, not just an auto accident, give him a call. Go see him. Remember, appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome even for you who have suffered in an accident. But today I want to talk about the laser away pain treatment. The laser away pain treatment is a miracle. And I often think, what would my life be like if I had never met Dr. Philip Appleton about 3 years ago now, when the first time he rid me of pain in my knee? The things I did, I still would have done and injured myself. My shoulder injuries from the skateboard accidents, I still would have done that. My knee would still be hurting. I would be in a lot of pain. And, pain, when you have that kind of pain that you're suffering from, like the arthritis and things that he's rid me of, it's a pain that's so exhausting, you don't want to move. You just want to go to bed and go to sleep. You guys know what I'm talking about? Suffering is not just a part of growing old. Go see Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain, like I've done 7 times. Remember, there's no injections, no shots, no drugs, no downtime, no surgery, and, of course, no appointment necessary even on Saturdays, and the laser treatment works. Arthritis, bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, repetitive motion injuries, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain, strains and sprains. The list goes on. If you've got a pain, go see Dr. Appleton. His number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take some calls when we get back. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have so much to cover today. You guys can see all the weight I've lost. It's amazing. I'll tell you about it more when it's time for me to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, but it's just amazing. It looks like Trump and Elon will be making up soon. Back in about 2-3 minutes. Criminal in chief, you're talking about the chief executive of California? Yeah, it looks like it. We need Elon back in the mix. I've been putting off. I'm going to do a vlog driving over to the Gulf of America, and I've been putting it off because I was waiting for the weather to get really good. The weather's really nice, starting to get nice now. And my plan, I was going to rent a Tesla and drive it to the Gulf of America and drive from the East Coast to the West Coast of Florida to the Gulf of America, but I think I can forego the renting of the Tesla now, unless Elon gets back in the mix. I've never driven a Tesla, and I was going to go with my daughter so she could help me figure out how to use the car. But I don't know. It's about the Gulf of America. It's about a 90-minute drive from where I live, because I got to drive south and then to the West Coast, and it's pretty cool. There's a road that goes directly from the east to the West Coast of Florida, or the west to the east, and it's called Alligator Alley is the name of the road, Alligator Alley, and it goes directly across the state and across the Florida Everglades. It's a cool road. No, I don't think I would rent the Cybertruck. Those are like $500 a day to rent. Yeah, it's called Alligator Alley. It's a really cool road, actually. We'll be back in less than a minute. The Gulf of America. So I might just take my car, unless they make up real quick. All right, we'll be back shortly. It used to be a very scary ride across Alligator Alley. Oh, yeah. Yes, it was. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Let me take a call or two, and then we'll continue. We have so much to cover. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hey, Brian. This is California MAGA.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I'm not sure whether you know it or not, but I saw a podcast from a California State Assemblyman, Carl DeMaio, and he's actually saying that he has seen evidence, direct evidence, of California state taxpayers being used to fund migrant protesters.
Yeah, I've heard some of that. Yeah, and a lot of these groups out there. Listen, you put together a protest, you organize a fake protest, real people will come along, but there are actual organizers. Like I was talking yesterday. I was on Saturday, I was watching the live feed from out in front of the ICE headquarters when the LA County sheriffs pulled up, and I heard a woman speaking English with a perfect American accent on a bullhorn. So that told me we had some, Democrats and Antifa. A lot of these groups, I was reading an article this morning, are being funded by China. In the old days, the Soviet Union used to fund liberal activist groups during the Vietnam War era to cause division. China does the same now. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You are so good at calling out China. You more than anyone seem to be the best at calling them out regularly.
Where in California are you?
I'm in Northern California,
you're
about
lucky.
an hour north of San Francisco.
So
yeah.
let me ask you, what's the attitude in California itself about what's happening in Southern California right now?
I'm probably not the right guy to ask. I don't have a huge circle of friends.
You're a hermit.
Golfing buddies.
You got golfing buddies that all think alike. See, I think that most of the people in California agree with what Trump's doing in Southern California, even if they don't vocalize it. Even if they're a Democrat, I think most Americans in California, true Californians, the fifth and sixth generation, Californians are big into being multi-generational Californians. That class of people, I think they're very happy with what Trump's doing in LA.
I concur, definitely. I'm 63 years old, California native my whole life. I grew up in Southern California, and I mean, you know how many red counties we really do have in the state. It's just the crazy loony ones on the left side of the coast there that are tilting us that badly, because you can drive throughout California and talk to like-minded conservatives like you and I all day long if you go to the right places. But I think you're definitely right, man. If you talk to the average person, even down in Southern California, in LA County right now, which is the biggest stronghold
that's
of them
part
all.
of the panic that you're seeing in the media and the Democrats, because with the mass deportations and self-deportations that are coming to California, they're afraid of losing their grip on total control of the Democrats in California.
That makes sense. Can I ask you, what would their primary motivation be for funding these situations? Are they trying to bait Trump into doing something aggressive and that kind of thing?
Well, when you say that, you talking about China? Who are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the California state, congressional.
The Democrat. Oh, that's simple.
California.
Everything the Democrats do is to cause division. If there's division, that's what Democrats want. Okay? If there's division, when the people are united, we're united against over-controlling government. But when there's division, people pick their teams. So the Democrat, you see this in everything, right? With the Democrats, gay against Christian, Christian against gays. That was a big thing. Black against white. The Democrats are always trying to cause division. And this is another opportunity to cause division, which they think will hurt Trump.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's classic Marxism. What about with Newsom, though? He's a slick guy. He must know that this looks horrible for him as far as his presidential aspirations.
I don't think he's all that slick. I
don't
don't think he's all that slick. I think he was born into a connected family. Look, yesterday that actor was screaming at the ICE agents and the soldiers, who's the son of Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Now, I love Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. They're American icons, and their son was screaming at those ICE agents like nobody's business. And he's a mediocre actor. He was in one of the Marvel movies, poor performance. I saw him in this Godzilla series on Apple TV where he played a younger version of his father. And the only reason he's an actor is because his dad is Kurt Russell and his mom is Goldie Hawn, right? That's it. He's not handsome and he can't really act that well. He's mediocre. Gavin Newsom's the same thing, right? He's Pelosi's nephew, right?
Right.
So he was born into this powerful California Democrat family, and he was just handed everything. He's never earned or worked for anything. He's not slick. Just because he wears makeup and does his hair up all pretty doesn't mean he's slick. He's looked like an idiot the last couple of days. And Victor Davis Hanson was on Laura Ingraham last night and was talking online about this. And Victor Davis Hanson says that Gavin Newsom's presidential nomination dreams are over because of this weekend.
Okay, that makes sense. I would think so. That's why I just can't believe he's that stupid, but I can believe it.
He is stupid. He is stupid.
Yeah. I mean, is it evidence also of maybe what you were saying with the Chinese influence? I mean, is he a Chinese puppet perhaps also?
The first time I heard of the Chinese being involved in the Democrat Party was during Clinton. Remember? Anybody remember Charlie Tree? Charlie Tree was a Chinese guy who showed up at a Clinton campaign headquarters with a manila envelope full of cash. And if you remember, Bill Clinton gave some rocket-guided missile technology to the Chinese after all of that. And then all of a sudden the Chinese launched people into outer space. So that, so the Chinese own the Democrats. They've owned them for a long time. It didn't start with Biden.
Okay. I mean, that would make a lot more sense even just knowing that he's perhaps, answering to those guys maybe, they're calling the shots, perhaps.
The Chinese, listen. Look at. I just forgot her name. Who was that old hag that was your senator forever? Dianne Feinstein. She had her driver was a CCP spy. Had been with her for over 20 years, because the Chinese The CCP is all inside, and look, remember Fang Fang, right? The Chinese Communist Party have infiltrated the entire Democrat Party of California, and the reason they've been able to do it is not just because Democrats are corrupt, but because there's such a large Asian population in California, it's easier for them to blend in.
Right.
You know? So that's that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call from Northern California. All right. If you're on hold, guys, hang in there. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back after this. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're new, I do a morning show on a bunch of radio stations, and when I'm on the radio, I'm not just on the radio stations. I live stream on YouTube, and we're on some other platforms too. So the callers you're hearing, some of them are listening on the radio, some of them are watching on YouTube or some other platform that we're on. I'm texting with someone. We'll be back in about a minute. Oh, man. Welcome. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. I'll have a new podcast today uploaded too, so keep an eye out for that. We are back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Back to the phones. We shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Mitch from North Dakota.
Hey, Mitch. What's up?
Yeah, so I just kind of came across your show on YouTube. I've never seen it before. I'm a leftist, and I kind of don't agree with a bunch of the stuff you said.
Okay. What are you taking issue with that you heard me say?
Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of your time. One of the things that I take issue with was the comparison to the slavery with, like, ICE going in and kind of, I think you called them, like, sweatshops.
Yes.
To me, that's a bit of, like, an extreme conflation because, A, when we had people as slaves, it was against their choice, right? And so the people who are working at these sweatshops, obviously sometimes it can be exploitative, but I think that it's their choice to be there.
No,
and they're doing it.
That's what you think. Stuff. So listen, there's different forms of slavery, and the slavery that and the Democrat in the United States, all forms. There have been multiple forms. Hold on, I'm answering the phones here, which are ringing off the hook. Okay, there have been multiple forms of slavery in the United States. And each and every one of them has been brought to you by the Democrat Party. Okay? Including the new form today. We had the original slavery.
I don't know if that's true. We don't have to get into it, but I don't.
No, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, and then I'll explain how this is a different form of slavery. The the Democrats were the ones that owned all the slaves in the South, right, before the Civil War. Not one Republican owned a slave when the Civil War began, and they enslaved blacks. Now, they didn't pay them. They were in bondage.
Are you aware of the party switch? Or
that's a myth. There's been no party switch. Okay,
that's not a myth. But okay.
It is a myth. I know about that liberal urban lie legend. The Republicans and the Democrats can't agree that the sky is blue and the earth is round. Why would they all of a sudden do a party switch? Tell me about the party switch, since you say it happened. The evil Democrats became.
We don't have to get into it. I was mostly just.
It's never. No, tell me. I'll tell you. The party switch is a liberal urban legend. There was something called the Dixiecrats. All right, they were Democrats that were opposed to the civil rights laws being passed in the 1960s. They were segregationists, Democrats all, and they left and formed temporarily something called the Dixiecrats. Every single one of them, except one, went back to the Democrat Party. Strom Thurmond became a Republican. There were 23 to 26, I can't remember the exact numbers, between 23 and 26 Dixiecrats. All of them went back to the Democrat Party except one. So that's a lie. The Democrats brought us the slavery of the South. Jim Crow was another slavery period. And now, with the illegals working in sweatshops and whorehouses and massage parlors, it's a new form of slavery. It's human trafficking. And as an example, here in the state of Florida, where I live, if you stop at a rest area on the turnpike, going in and out of every public restroom are big signs in multiple languages. If you are the victim of human trafficking, tell somebody here at the rest stop. Okay, human trafficking is the new form of slavery. They may be paid money, but it's peanuts.
I'm not here to deny human trafficking exists.
Human trafficking, the people in these sweatshops have been human trafficked into the United States and around it, and they are slaves by another name.
I'm not denying that exists. I think what the issue I have was, and I think that if ICE is going into these human trafficking places and arresting the people who are human trafficking, I have no issue with that. The issue that I had was more so with people who aren't in these scenarios, who are more so maybe working in sweatshops, maybe they're in fields. Up here in like Minnesota, North Dakota area, there are a lot of illegal immigrants who do like gardening, flowering, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think the issue that I had was I envisioned ICE going into these facilities, and from what I've seen when they go into these facilities, they're arresting the workers.
You're talking about, okay, now slow down. You're talking about landscaping. Landscaping is a trade, and there are many people.
I mean, yes and no. I'm not talking just about landscaping.
Well, you mentioned landscaping. The jobs you mentioned, the jobs you mentioned are all jobs that Americans and legal immigrants would love to do. Maybe not you, but others would.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying was that what I envisioned when you said that, because you didn't clarify it about like
when they're brought here, they have no documents, they don't speak the language. They have nowhere to escape from. Many of them work in hotels, some work in restaurants. They work in all kinds of areas, okay, for slave wages. Many of them are held in bondage. They have nowhere to go, and they take jobs from Americans. So I don't know why you would, I don't know why you would.
In a lot of scenarios, I think a lot of scenarios there are companies who hire these illegal immigrants because they can pay them. They can get away with paying them.
They're criminals too. They're criminals
and they're doing
too.
Jobs that America.
Well, they're criminals
too.
too.
They're not getting in trouble, right? We're just sending the people home. We're just deporting them with usually no due process and just deporting them. And then the people who
there is due process. When people that are illegal immigrants, they do get due process. But it's a different process.
What do you mean by due? What do they get as? How can it be different? That's not what due process means.
There's different types of things. As an example, as an example, okay. If you get convicted of if you go to court and you get convicted of murder, and you get sentenced to life, okay? And then somebody else gets convicted of murder and gets sentenced to the death chamber, gets sentenced to death. There's two different due processes for them. A death sentence triggers an automatic appeal. At least here in the state of Florida, it does. The life sentence does not. Illegal immigrants, there's a process, but it is different than for an American citizen who gets arrested for breaking the law. Sometimes they might go before an immigration judge. Sometimes they may not have to. Sometimes they can just immediately be deported. In fact, one of the guys...
I think that's the issue that I have right there, is that to me, when I hear due process, to me that means that we need, and I don't know exactly what it is under the Constitution, but it is provided to...
It doesn't mean a jury trial.
Well.
Illegals, no.
Their
status is immediate determined. The status of an illegal is determined immediately, and they can be deported.
Sometimes they don't even need a judge.
Correct.
Right? And to me, that's an issue, because to me, there's no checks and balances there to determine if they are actually an illegal.
See, you know what you're.
In many cases, they could be.
The problem you have is how old are you?
I'm 25, sir.
You're 25. So, you have been educated in a very woke education system that teaches a lot of misinformation about everything. Like you and I, as an example, if you and I get arrested today in the United States, you and I are American citizens, depending on what we get arrested for, but we are entitled to a jury trial of our peers. Someone who's an illegal alien is not entitled to a jury trial.
And I don't need them to be entitled to a jury trial, but what I'm saying is a lot of the times, and another issue I have is like a lot of ICE people showing up just like what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have like a badge on or anything. They're just showing up in like masks. And so there's no way to determine. No,
they have badges and ID. They're wearing masks.
Sometimes they do.
They're federal agents, and they do have badges and identification.
I think sometimes they do. I've seen quite a few videos where they don't. I don't want to say that all the time.
No, they all have badges. They all have badges.
I would encourage you to look up just a few videos and see.
I'm watching it. Now they wear masks, and that is to protect themselves and their families from being doxxed.
Yeah, I guess the masks. I don't have an issue with the masks,
but they do have badges. They do have badges. But they don't have their names on their uniforms. In the military, when they're in combat, okay, when the military are in combat, they don't wear rank insignia. Why do you think that is? Or why do you think that is?
I mean, I know why that. So if they get killed or captured, they can't.
Because the enemy will pick off the officers, and then they'll pick off the sergeants, then they'll pick off the corporals. It's for their own protection. Yeah. ICE agents have badges.
Won't be up there anyway.
They have badges in their pockets, but they don't have their names on their uniforms, and they wear masks because they're dealing with third world dangerous people who will track them and their families down, and do God knows what.
Sometimes, yeah. I get why they have the masks and why they wouldn't have their names on the badges, right? And I think we're getting a little off topic too, because my main concern was with the due process thing.
Well, no, explain that. Well, no, I'm hosting the show. I decide what the main topic is. I'm hosting the show. The topic is whatever I utter.
You're right.
But I'm glad you found the show. You should continue to listen, and you'll get a real education as opposed to all that liberal brainwashing that you've gotten.
I don't know about that. You don't even know what due process means, sir.
I know what due process means. I walked you through it. I do.
You
absolutely.
You just pivoted to military members instead.
No, I did not do any of that. What I'm telling you is that there's different types of due process for different types of crimes and different types of people.
I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that these people are not being provided
Yes, they are.
Process.
Sure they are. What do you want, jury trials?
You just told me that they can be deported without trial.
That's correct.
Without
yes.
being a judge, without having a trial.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
How is that being provided due process?
Because they're foreign invaders into our country. There's a different type of due process.
But under the Constitution, even if you are not an American citizen, you are allowed to have due process.
As an example, okay, I mentioned the death penalty murder trials. If a police officer makes a traffic stop, and the person he stops pulls out a gun and points it at him, without any further due process, the police officer can give that person the death sentence and shoot them. There's a different type
Yeah,
of process in
But
different situations.
What does that have to do with not providing a trial to people who...
Because when you're an illegal invader, you're not entitled. Your due process is different than somebody who's a U.S. citizen.
In the Constitution.
Where does it say where does it say that foreign invaders are entitled to a jury trial of their peers? And who are their peers in Tijuana?
Well, first of all, in America, as far as I understand it, it's innocent until proven guilty. So you have to prove
not
that
for
they're
illegals, not in illegals, not
yes,
for
it
illegals.
is, because
no,
you have to determine if they are illegal or not.
Nope.
That's the point.
Nope.
So you could accidentally grab someone off the street who is not illegal and deport them because they didn't get a trial, which has happened. And so there's room for error.
Really?
There.
When
and
is
so
that? Who's been deported?
Error,
Who's been deported by accident?
I forget the name, but I can look it up for you. Right?
You talking about Kilmar Garcia?
No.
The Maryland man? Listen, I'm out of time. I gotta run for a break, but welcome to the program, all right? You take care. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man, I tell you. Yeah, I'm sure. Of course they want to have 25 million jury trials. Of course. They'll die of old age before they come to trial. That's not the same due process. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the top of the hour. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are located. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be back right after this. Now, guys, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors today, sponsoring the program, and there's a link to this book in the description of the video, The Flower Story. It's a great Father's Day book. It's available for free in Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get the book for absolutely free, but it's also available in regular Kindle, as well as hardcover and paperback. It's called The Flower Story, and there is a link in the description of the video. So order yours. It's a great Father's Day gift, and they're sponsoring today's program. So you support them, you're supporting me, and it's greatly appreciated. The Flower Story on Amazon. Again, there's a link in the description of the video. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. Welcome to the new subscribers. This is our top of the hour radio station break. No, he's a good guy. He just, he's just had his whole education has been with these wokesters, and most people that are liberal just don't know what's going on, right? Like this big switch. They've got this ridiculous story that one day all the good Democrats decided to become Republicans, and all the bad, evil people that were Republican decided to become Democrats, and they met together, these good, angelic-like people in the Democrat Party with these evil Republicans, and they agreed to switch party registrations. Give me a break. That would be an amazing thing that happened. Where's the video of that? Where's the film footage of that? Give me a break. It's one of the biggest lies that ever told in the history of the United States. But it's taught everywhere, and they believe it. People on the left. We are back. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. I have some sad news to report to some of you out there who are in our listening audience, in particular, those of you who have been over the years customers of Laporta Roofing. I'm sure you all know Jim from Laporta Roofing because you know, Jim, he's worked with Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing for a very, very long time. So, you know, if you're getting a roof done with Laporta Roofing, you have dealt with Jim. And sadly, I just learned a little while ago he lost his mother last night. And I know a lot of you have worked with him and have been in contact with him and probably would consider him a friend since you worked so closely when Laporta Roofing was working on your home. So, Jim, our condolences go to you. And that's just a sad thing. And it's always hard when you lose someone, but a parent, that's really rough. My parents are still with us, but it's one of those things that, oh my goodness, it's just god awful. So our condolences with Jim from Laporta Roofing. And I know a lot of you out there in our listening audience know Jim well. And I'm not sure if he's going to be back to work, but if you want to give a call over there, and give your condolences or send a card to Laporta Roofing, please do. All right. Those of you on hold, hang in there. I want to talk about that last caller, and then I'm going to get into more of what's going on for the Battle of Los Angeles and what President Trump is doing. That last caller, 25-year-old kid, he a good guy. He's just been brainwashed by liberal media and a liberal education system. You know, my favorite is this thing, the big party switch, that is one of the biggest lies ever told in the history of the United States. And, you know, the Democrats, if you remember, during President Trump's first term, they were taking all these monuments down, right? Klansmen and Confederates and such. All those monuments that BLM was taking down, Black Lives Matter, were monuments of Democrats. And the reason the Democrat Party was taking down these monuments was not because they were racist. These monuments represented racist people. People were starting to figure out that the Democrat Party is the party of Jim Crow and slavery. So they wanted to wipe out our history so people wouldn't know. But people do know. And some Democrats somewhere came up with this big lie of the big party switch. And more Republicans in the Congress voted for the civil rights laws than Democrats, by the way. You wouldn't know that if you read a history book. They don't teach you the truth. But the Democrats have sold this lie that somewhere, we never saw this happen. There was no news stories covering it. There's no film footage. But one day, all the racist, evil Democrats in our country got together with all the angelic Democrats and with all the racist Republicans and the angelic Republicans, and they decided somewhere that was never covered in the news and there's no documentation of it, they decided to switch parties. Oh, we're the good Democrats. We're going to become Republicans. Oh, we're the evil Republicans. We're going to become Democrats today. And there was this big party switch. That never happened. It is one of the biggest lies and urban legends told throughout time in this country. If it did happen, it would have been so well documented in news accounts. It's insane. The Democrats and the Republicans can't agree on anything. They cannot agree that, like I told the last call, the sky is blue. They can't agree on that. But they got together and did this big party switch. I don't know where that liberal legend came from and how it came to be, but it's not true. And the Democrats, they just throw that out like it's fact, and it is complete, utter fiction. Complete fiction. So this is, I've been watching a lot of the local news out in Los Angeles online the last few days. And it is it's interesting to watch because they're catering to their local audience of liberal loons. I could only, of course, I don't speak or understand Spanish, even though I took it in high school and college. Don't ask me how I got. The only reason I got through, this was my savior, okay? You have to have 2 semesters of a foreign language to graduate college. And throughout my college life, I took Spanish multiple times. I took French multiple times. I took German multiple times, and I kept dropping before the drop date. So I just couldn't do it. Same thing in high school. In high school, you can't drop it. So I just got an F in high school. I've got a learning disability when it comes to foreign languages. And then I got to my final couple of semesters of college, and I had taken every class I had to take to graduate except the 2 foreign language semesters, Spanish 1101 and Spanish 1102. And so I had my last 2 semesters of college were just one class, Spanish 1101 and Spanish 1102. And my wife she speaks Spanish, okay? She's not a fluent speaker, but she speaks Spanish, and she took it in high school and college too. And she was my tutor, and I spent every day for those 2 semesters doing nothing but studying the Spanish, and luckily those classes you don't have a comprehensive exam at the end. You know those classes in college you take where you have an exit exam and it covers everything in the course? Luckily, it was just a weekly quiz, and my wife, who is a former school teacher herself, got me through each week, studied me up for that week's quiz. And I got through it with 2 C's. 2 C's. I graduated college with honors, but I got 2 C's, and that was in Spanish 1101 and 1102. It was ridiculous. I remember when I was in high school and I failed Spanish, my Spanish teacher, her name was Mrs. Wilkes. She told me that if I didn't pass her class by the year 2000, okay, the year 2000. Remember everything used to be by the year 2000? By the year 2000, I was going to be unemployable and unable to function living in South Florida if I didn't learn Spanish. And I would never go to college. She was a great motivational speaker. I'd never go to college. I'd never get into college because I was failing her class, she told me. And I did my best, but I didn't have my wife back then to tutor me. But here I am in the year 2025, and I'm functioning in South Florida with no problems, okay? Even the last time I went to Little Havana, they don't mind. They know I'm a gringo. They speak English to me when I go to Little Havana. But anyway, I've been watching the local news in Los Angeles and their coverage of what's going on out there, and it's so absurd. But I got to watch the English, speaking, because my Spanish is, I don't know Spanish. I could only imagine what they're doing on the local Spanish channels out there. But this is from the local NBC affiliate in LA. Listen to this guy.
We have never seen, I certainly haven't in my 40 years here, a ICE raid in the Garment District downtown, which is high profile.
Yeah, well, you saw it now. You saw it now, okay? This is the new California.
We have never seen, I certainly haven't in my 40 years here, a ICE raid in the Garment District downtown, which is high profile. You can do those kind of raids in any state in the country, any red state. You can do it in Texas, but he chose L.A. And that's because I think President Trump has it in for California. It is a state that doesn't like him, and it hasn't in any way of these ever since he's been on the ballot. And so it's the deep blue state. This is the place he wanted to target. And I think, frankly, it has helped him out immeasurably, because the scenes of Mexican flags show the rest of the country and his base, we're being invaded. The scenes of violence, look at what I'm doing to stop the violence, it's playing right into their hands.
Okay. The reason we're targeting California is because their infrastructure and government, from the governor on down, allow it and cooperate with these foreigners to bring the invaders in. As an example, right here, this guy in Los Angeles, why aren't they going into the red states? Okay, I mentioned a story the other day. I can't remember if it was on the show Friday or if I did this on my podcast. I do so many different things, I forget where I say what. This might have been on my podcast, but it might have been on the radio on Friday. The sheriff of Broward County, who was appointed, he's been elected since, but originally was appointed by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, Sheriff Tony, okay? I don't live in Broward County. I rarely go to Broward County, but I did grow up in Broward County. And I miss the great Sheriff Nick Navarro, I tell you. But this guy, the current sheriff of Broward County, originally appointed by Ron DeSantis, has since been reelected. He's a Democrat. He said the other day that Broward sheriffs won't be taking part in deportations. And a lot of people got upset about that. Well, there's a story today from the state government that they're not going to just let him get away with that. In fact, let me see if I can pull this up. Well, I wasn't going to bring this. I wasn't even going to bring this up today, but let me pull this up. So last week, the Broward County Sheriff Tony, beware of people with two first names, unless their name is Brian Craig. He said that they weren't going to cooperate or work with ICE or do something like this. Well, listen to this. Florida State Attorney General, I cannot pronounce his name. What is it? Florida State Attorney General James Uthermeyer, I guess is how you say his name. He's got Pam Bondi's old job, has issued a blistering to Broward County Sheriff Gregory Tony, warning that his refusal to prioritize immigration enforcement could land him in hot water, including suspension by Governor Ron DeSantis and legal contempt proceedings. The bombshell letter. So the Attorney General of Florida sent a letter to the Broward County Sheriff Tony. The bombshell letter was triggered by Sheriff Tony's stunning admission at a recent budget workshop that immigration is not one of his priorities. Sheriff Tony further declared, "It's not within our purview, it's not within our responsibility, and I won't participate in it." Here he is. This is the sheriff of Broward County. I saw this last week.
Some of the things that other sheriffs in this state has participated in increasing availability of manpower to execute some of these responsibilities that fall under immigrations, we are not. There has been a submittal of requests. The governor wanted to see all sheriffs participate in this one program, 287G, which was related to the inmate processing components, and we've always been in compliance with that. Then there was a pivot point to have deputies participate in 287G task force, whereas now it's the law enforcement apparatus that is out in the field and increasing the operational tempo for customs, meaning 20 deputies are assigned, let's say in Sarasota, to this particular task force. And those deputies are now basically operating under the will, or so, the partnership of immigration. I've dedicated the two people that's always been there. I've not increased that. We have other priorities in this community that I'm focused on, and immigration is not one of them. Not to dismiss the importance of that, but we have had case after case just a few months ago to speak about why it's important for us as law enforcement practitioners to focus on the criminal components, not administrative components when it comes to immigration.
Okay. So then he goes on a little bit. That was the sheriff last week. So the Attorney General of Florida sent this letter. But this is, by the way, an article in the Gateway Pundit. This story has gone national. In a 2-page letter sent Monday, the Attorney General of Florida made clear that Florida law is not optional and that the sheriff's refusal to fulfill his statutory obligations could result in suspension by Governor Ron DeSantis and legal action for contempt. Okay. So back to this. So why, this guy that I just played said, Trump's targeting Los Angeles. He's targeting Los Angeles because they don't have a state attorney general like we have. When we have a rogue elected sheriff in a blue county, Broward County, say something like this, our state government is there to say, whoa, wait a minute, you can't do that. This is the Florida law. You must work with law enforcement on this. You can't opt out or this could happen. They don't have that in California. So even though our governor betrayed Donald Trump and lied to all of us Floridians who are MAGA who voted for him, okay, We have an operating lawful government at the state level to keep other officials in check when they refuse to enforce these laws. They don't have that in California. So you've got to use these operations in these blue states because their state governments are not functioning when it comes to enforcing law and order. Does that make sense? All right, let's take our first break of the second hour. Call us on hold. You stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You know, I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. You know, today I'm wearing a shirt that I actually I bought a couple of the same shirt I'm wearing with one minor change. The shirt I'm wearing, it has a really cool silkscreen image of our favorite president, Donald Trump, on it, wearing cool sunglasses, and it says, "I'll be back." And I bought this at the mall where we had that personal appearance at a few years ago, where they called the Broward Sheriff's deputies on Steve Kane and myself and ordered us removed because we were MAGA. You guys remember that? Some of you were at that appearance. I was there for like 10 minutes before they called the cops on us. Before I got there, I went to one of the stores there and I bought 2 of these shirts. And they're exactly the same except one. I didn't know what size I wore. So I got 2 different sizes. I got a large and a small. I didn't know. I couldn't tell. And the large one, I wore that shirt out pretty much a long time ago. But the one I'm wearing now, I just started wearing again. I've never worn it before because it was too small. This is the smaller one. And it says, "I'll be back." And it has, he's already back, but it looks brand new. The shirt's kind of out of date, but President Trump looks so cool on it. I like it. And I never wore this shirt because when I bought it, it was too small. But thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret and all the weight I've lost, it fits. And it fits perfectly. So, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. This shirt's like 3 years old, and I just started. It didn't fit me all this time, but I've lost all this weight thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You can do the same, okay? Without exercise, without prescription medications like Ozempic, and did I say without exercise? I want to highlight that. And eating foods you would normally eat. Give them a call. It's absolutely amazing. And when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be right back. These aren't shameless plugs. These are paid sponsorships to the program. All of them that you hear. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. This is, well, I'm a little behind on the break schedule. A little more than a minute, we'll be back. One minute, we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Yeah, this is Daniel from the Turnpike.
Okay.
Hey, Craig. Long time. I moved from L.A. last year, and glad to be here in Florida. And it's a long time coming for those people in it. And it's been...
No, you got a bad connection. Well, okay. Well, welcome to Florida. All right. Now, did you see this? Did you see this CNN guy get arrested live on CNN yesterday? You know, these reporters, there's been some reporters that have gotten into some trouble, right? Because they're out there covering the battle for Los Angeles, and they're embedded with the protesters. There was an Australian reporter that got hit by a rubber bullet. Did any of you see that? Oh, my goodness. I bet that hurts. And I wouldn't want to get hit by a rubber bullet. I think she got hit in the leg. And then live on CNN, they got one of their reporters, and he's doing a live report. And I think it's LAPD. LAPD comes and arrests everyone, including the CNN reporter, and he keeps the camera going. Listen.
We have also seen social media messages and flyers and posters saying
CNN?
It's time to escalate.
Wait 1 second, John. Hold on.
Yeah,
I want to.
Here's the live
Jason?
arrest.
Yep.
What's going on? I hear you. Am I seeing Jason Carroll being? What happened, Jason?
I am being detained. I'm being detained, Laura.
I love it.
I'm not being arrested. Correct, officers?
Did you hear what he told you?
No.
We're letting you go, but you can't come back.
Okay.
Because then if you come back, then you go.
Okay.
Okay, please?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, officer.
Take care.
You know, did you hear that cop who's an LAPD who has a Mexican accent? The Mexican accented LAPD officer, but he doesn't care that this guy's CNN. He identifies himself as CNN, and he says, am I being arrested? Did you hear what he said? They're not impressed. I guess if he was Univision or something, he might be impressed. Or CNN Espanol.
Not being arrested. Correct, officers?
Did you hear what he told you?
No.
We're letting you go, but you can't come back.
Okay.
Because then if you come back, then you go.
Okay.
Okay, please?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, officer.
Take care. You too. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
What happened, Jason?
If you guys can still hear me, what happened was I was Yes.
I'm Chris with the New York Times. We got video of you guys.
Oh, you did.
Oh, the New York Times got your back here, CNN. Here we got fake news in action.
Yes.
I'm Chris with the New York Times. We got video of you guys.
Oh, you did.
If
I love
you
it.
need it later,
Thank you.
call New York Times.
I appreciate that.
I can hear you still, Jason. What's happening?
I guess the anchors want Jason to know they can still hear him, so the fake news doesn't get too vocal about the news story they're trying to craft, right?
I'm Chris with the New York Times. We got video of you guys.
Oh, you did.
If you need it later,
Thank you.
call New York Times.
I appreciate that.
I can hear you still, Jason. What's happening?
So here's what happened, Laura. The officer, I was called over, and the officer told me to put my hands behind my back.
Oh, love it.
I said, am I being arrested? He said, you were being detained. I was walked out of the area. They took down my information.
Oh, I'm losing his IFB right now. I can't hear you, Jason.
Oh, the
With
mic
John
got cut.
Miller, I'm just hearing from Jason
I
Carroll
love
just
it.
now. We had video just now of watching him with his hands behind his back. He was escorted by his elbows by, looks like 1 to 2 officers. He's walking out of the boxed-in area. He was told at first he was being detained, and you could hear on camera the officer saying something to the effect of he had to leave the area and could not come back, and if he did, I believe they said that he would, in fact, be detained. Describe what you take from...
I'm so glad this was an LAP. The reason I highlighted the guy's accent, the cop, he's LAPD with a Mexican accent. Now, somebody will probably tell me that's a Los Angelino accent. That's a Mexican accent. And it wasn't ICE. So there's no doubt the guy's liberal. He's an LAPD's Mexican accented police officer. And let me play. If you're on hold, hang in there. Let me hear how CNN explains this. It wasn't ICE. It wasn't the Army. It wasn't the Marines. It was a LAPD officer with a Mexican accent.
He was told at first he was being detained, and you could hear on camera the officer saying something to the effect of he had to leave the area and could not come back, and if he did, I believe they said that he would, in fact, be detained. Describe what you take from that.
So what they've done is they have given the 409 PC California warning to everybody there, demonstrators first. If you remain here, you're subject to arrest. Now they're sorting through people who are left who are not protesters, and in Jason's case, he identified himself. I'm Jason Carroll with CNN.
And they said, who? Who are you?
Am I being detained? He said, yes. I think what the officer means is you're being detained for the...
You know, and the video, you guys can't see the video on the radio, but this Jason Carroll, when he does interviews and pretends to be a victim here, they did put his hands behind his back. When the LAPD officers put this CNN reporter's hands behind his back, he was smiling ear to ear because he was thinking, "Oh, this is my ship coming in. I'm going to be a victim. I'm a journalist who was arrested, giving a live report by the fuzz, and maybe I'll get out of the field and get an anchor chair." This guy, he is so excited, this CNN reporter, that he's being detained. Okay, and he has his hand behind his back, but there's no handcuffs or anything. He may be pretending like AOC did. Remember that when she put her hands behind her back? This guy from CNN, he's thinking, oh, I'll be the next Jim. I'm going to get my own show now. How many reporters get arrested live by the man while they're on the air?
Describe what you take from that.
So what they've done is they have given the 409 PC California warning to everybody there, demonstrators first. If you remain here, you're subject to arrest. Now they're sorting through people who are left who are not protesters, and in Jason's case, he identified himself.
There he is, smiling.
CNN. Am I
He's
being
so happy.
detained? He said yes. I think what the officer means is you're being detained for the purposes of you can't walk away from me back into the crowd. I'm going to walk you out of the perimeter, and then you will not be under arrest. But what they're trying to do is clear that box. Here's the rub. One of the things that's gotten harder in these demonstrations is you have anarchist groups and agitators who show up and say, well, I have a blog, so therefore I'm press. So therefore,
That's right.
Even though I've been throwing bottles and screaming epithets, I'm not part of the protest. I want to be treated as media. So they sort through people one at a time. You know, it was probably less than pleasant for Jason, but at the end of the day, He kept his cool. They were polite. He was polite, and we're.
Oh, please. He blew it when he was smiling when he put his hands behind his back. All right, listen, if you're on hold, stand by. I am late for the break. Holy smokes, I'm in trouble. We'll be right back. Do you see him smiling, guys? Let me rewind it. Watch when they go to him. Watch when they go to him how he's smiling. Watch.
You were being detained. I was walked out.
See?
Of the area.
Look at him. Look at him. He is smiling. He's so happy that he's being detained. This is like the best thing that's ever happened to him. What a jerk. He figures he's going to get his own show now on CNN because he's been detained. Now, listen, if you'd like to support the program, great way to do that is to support our sponsors. And this great Etsy shop, there is a link, Discipline. There's a link to the Discipline Etsy shop in the description of the video, so you can go there and support them. One of our supporters out of the UK who has an Etsy shop with a fashion brand and all kinds of cool clothes and T-shirts and hoodies and such. And you can go there, and there's a link in the description of the video, whichever one you're looking for, and you support them. You're supporting, of course, all of my content. When you do that. Yeah, so please, again, the link is in the description to their Etsy shop. If you don't mind, check them out. Yeah, it's a new fashion brand started by a good guy that's in London. I know, we got a global audience here. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. We've passed the halfway mark. The show is flying by, and I haven't even gotten to hardly any of my show prep. We'll be back in about a minute. Stand by, 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We've covered a lot. Back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
The masked lady in Boca.
Hey.
Louise. Brian, I have to tell you, I'm sorry, but 3 hours yesterday, over an hour and a half today. Your callers, the same thing over and over and over. Isn't there any other world news? I turn on the TV, the same thing.
Yeah.
Why are we giving such coverage to these idiots?
Because I'll tell you why. Now, again, because you've been wearing that mask for 5 years and deprived your brain of oxygen, you may not be able to understand. Why do you think that the media, all of the media, including me, are covering what's going on in Los Angeles again today?
I don't know. It's maddening. The same thing repeating.
No, it's not. It's not the same. There have been developments, and we're talking about the new developments. And
there's
yeah.
no other news in this country.
What would you what do you think, other than the number one story on the planet, what should I be covering?
I want to know if there's any developments with Elon Musk and the president. What about
No, that's all. We were talking about that last. We were talking about all that last week.
Anyway, I never thought I'd look forward to the commercials. I have to go. I tell you, I'm shaking. I can't.
You're
take it
shaking?
anymore.
Why are you shaking?
Yes, because it's maddening. The
What's
same
maddening?
Repetition. Your callers over and over and over.
But you want us to talk about last week's story, Elon Musk.
Last week, I want to know what else is going
When there's
on in the world.
when there's a development with Elon Musk, I'll cover it.
I'm sorry you think this is so important.
It is.
Okay, I have to go.
All right, yeah, all right, you have to go. Where's she got to go at her age? Liberating Los Angeles from the foreign invaders is very important and worthy of another morning of discussion. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Washington, D.C. You're a fag.
A cigarette? I'm a cigarette? Oh, boy. I got the hecklers out today. That's okay. You know, you can't go into this line of work expecting people to be approving of everything you do. But no, this story in Los Angeles is the biggest story out there. We are covering the new developments in it. And what President Trump is doing, this is exactly what we elected him to do. Promises made, promises kept. Now, Gavin Newsom, he thought he was going to be the president. You know, he thought he was going to be the Democrat nominee. That's why he started this podcast. Here's Gavin Newsom overseeing the destruction of his presidential dreams. Listen.
I mean, it's, again, sober and serious moment. Meanwhile, can I just add, you know, and this is why I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on. If you need some head to scalp, do it with me, but stop messing with these kids.
These kids? The ones throwing bricks at federal agents, but they're messing with them?
Messing with 4-year-olds, kids in elementary school. We've got kids. We have hundreds of graduations down here. Kids are not going to their own graduations.
Yeah, because they and their families are illegal. So they got empty graduations in California because hey, I appreciate the tip, Gavin Newsom. Maybe Tom Homan can send some ICE agents to some of these high school graduations. Now, the kids might be anchor babies, but start in the audience with the parents, Homan.
We've got kids. We have hundreds of graduations down here. Kids are not going to their own graduations. Families, grandparents, here legally. Mixed status families in some cases. Scared to death to go.
Mixed status family. Boy, you get a whole new vocabulary. I haven't heard this one. Mixed status families. So let me get this straight. If you're a criminal, but your kid is not, you get immunity? So let me get this straight. If someone steals a car and brings it home, but their kids weren't involved in the auto theft, that means they don't go to jail for auto theft because they're a mixed status family? Dad's a felon, the kids are not, so now they have immunity?
These grandparents here legally, mixed status families in some cases, scared to death to go to a graduation. People are scared to walk down the streets. It's not just Home Depots, getting their car washed.
Getting their car washed. Oh, so this is interesting. So we're learning a lot about what's going on from Gavin Newsom. He's panicking right now. And the reason he's panicking, he's become aware. He's not very self-aware, but he's becoming a little aware that his chances of being president are hopeless now, probably not even getting the nomination. But so what is he saying? That there are undercover ICE agents posing as car wash workers and they're arresting illegals when they come in to get their cars washed? And who are these 4-year-olds that ICE are messing with? I love it.
Scared to death to go to a graduation. People are scared to walk down the streets. It's not just Home Depots getting their car washed. We have incidences. I didn't believe it because what was I thinking? I actually believed when they said this is not true. But then I saw videos. They're doing checkpoints, checking people's IDs. We've never seen this kind of deployment.
Yeah, I've seen that. Have any of you ever been stopped by a DUI checkpoint? I used to get stopped by them when I was young and I was out all night. They used to have DUI checkpoints all over the place. They would stop me and check my ID. This has been going on for years.
They're doing checkpoints, checking people's IDs. We've never seen this kind of deployment in so many actions. It's mass panic out here in the nation's largest county, in the nation's largest state. Good, hardworking people, decent people. These are not the criminals. These are not the thugs.
Yes, they are criminals because they are here illegally. All right, now, my apologies, guys. I went long on one of our breaks, so this is a very short segment. If you're on hold, hang in there. I tell you, the mask lady and then the heckler, the mask lady was on hold for over 30 minutes. I don't know. I had a lot to get into, and I wasn't taking calls. She held on all that time just to tell me that. And the other guy, he was on hold for quite a while too. But if you're on hold, hang in there. I will take the calls after the break. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. And I'll tell you, so far as covering this story, this is a very important story. This is promises made, promises kept. This is what we elected Donald Trump to do. And I don't know if it's this way with you, but I got up early this morning. I'm watching the news, and when they're covering other things, I'm out. I want to hear about the latest developments with what President Trump is doing in L.A. I mean, I really don't see another story that rises to the level to take the focus of the program on. Do you? If I'm missing something, let me know. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this. All right. All right, we'll be back in about a minute. So if you're on hold, hang in there. Did I ever tell you guys? I was telling somebody about this off the air the other day. Did I ever tell you what I did at a DUI checkpoint when I was in high school? Did I ever tell you guys? I'm not sure if I told you guys. I had an incident at a DUI checkpoint once. I don't know. What's the statute of limitations? Did I ever tell you guys? I don't think, no? Okay. I'll take some calls first. Maybe I will. It's pretty funny. It's crazy. Stand by. We're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. My name is Ann. I'm calling from Lake Worth. How are you today?
All right, Ann in Lake Worth. What's on your mind?
I'm just calling about what Gavin Newsom just said about the borders looking at border checks and having checkpoints. I don't understand where he's coming from. I lived in Arizona for 15 years, and my husband is a federal agent. And Border Patrol has checkpoints everywhere in the main highway that leads from Nogales into Tucson. That is a common practice there in Arizona. And him being in a border town, I'm sure he has the same thing coming out of all of the borders from Mexico into California.
Well, you know, what's happening is Gavin's seeing his constituents being rounded up and deported, or some of them self-deporting, so he's in a panic.
I agree. That was all I wanted to say.
Okay, appreciate the call. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Claudia from Miramar, Florida.
Claudia in Miramar. What's on your mind?
Hi, first-time caller.
Welcome, welcome.
Hey, I listen to your show a lot, but I've never called. Do you know anything about this thing that's going to happen on June 14th? I keep seeing it on social media.
What is going to happen on June 14th?
Yeah, something about no kings, something, and
No what?
they're going to, like, people are going to...
What's
I keep seeing something about on X on social media.
What is this?
About no kings.
Is this the Juneteenth celebration? Is that on the 14th?
The 14th.
I don't know.
The president's birthday.
Oh, you're talking about the military parade.
Yeah, but
well,
then they're saying
okay. It is
like
the June 14th is coincidentally the president's birthday, but what's being celebrated is not that. The president even commented on this yesterday. The great Army of the United States, which is 1 year older than the United States itself because it was founded in 1775. It's the Army's birthday. It's the Army's birthday on June 14th.
Yeah.
And it's their 250th birthday. That's a big one, right? The 250th birthday of the United States Army, and it's being celebrated with a wonderful parade in Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay. No, but I keep hearing that there's going to be protests by this group called No Kings.
No Kings?
Have you heard of that?
No, I have not. But they sound like liberal lunatics. Liberals don't like the American Army.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was just curious because I know you're really
now
up to date with
the
this.
original United States Army, they were chanting "No more kings" because they were overthrowing the King of England. I don't know if that's some connection.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. By the way, you listen in Miramar. Do you listen to us on the radio or online?
Well, I can't get you in Miramar, right?
Yep.
So when I'm driving to work, which I work in Fort Lauderdale, I can start picking you up.
Oh, okay.
But then I can listen. But then I can tune in on iHeartRadio and tune into you there.
That's awesome. All right. Well, it's good to hear from you. All right. I'll check out the No More Kings, the No Kings people. I don't know. That sounds interesting.
I don't know. They keep saying that there's going to be like I don't know. Like it's supposed to be protests or I don't know.
Okay. I'll look into it. All right. I appreciate the call. You know, that's an interesting thing. You know, it's so exciting that a listener would go to such extremes to listen to the program, right? They listen till they get out of range of one of the radio stations, then they go to another platform and they listen. I appreciate all that, guys. It's really nice that you guys like the show so much that you'll go from platform to platform when you're driving outside a ring. Now, the masked lady may like this. There is something I want to mention. I would not normally mention this, but I saw this story in the news today, and it's been driving me nuts all day. Wayne Lewis has passed away, who is one of the founding members of Atlantic Star, okay? And I saw this story this morning on Trending Politics. Do any of you remember Atlantic Star? And Wayne Lewis, and yeah, it was an R&B group, Atlantic Star. And this was around 1985-ish. They had this hit song that played on MTV constantly. And since I saw that Wayne Lewis, one of the founders of Atlantic Star, died, I have had this song in my head since about 4:30 in the morning. I can even hear it now, and I'm seeing the video. Does anyone remember what the song was? What is the song from Atlantic Star? You don't have to be Karnak to figure this out. The song from Atlantic Star that is in my head, the video played nonstop on MTV through all of 1985, and I can't get the song out of my head. It's driving me nuts, and I can see the video in front of me. Even though it's not there, I can see it, and it's been going on since 4:30 this morning. Does anyone remember the song? It was a duet, two people singing, and it's a 2-word title. Does anyone know? I'm not going to troll for calls on this, okay, because I'm not familiar with Atlantic Star's entire catalog of music. Secret Lovers. Secret Lovers. Oh, my goodness. Secret Lovers. I've had, and the video, I'm assuming it was Wayne Lewis. I don't know the name of the female singer from Atlantic Star. It was a concert video. They were on stage. Secret Lovers, that's what we are. And that song played nonstop in 1985, Secret Lovers. And it's a good song, but I got it out of my head finally, like in 88, 89, and now it's back. And it's probably going to be in my head all day. And it's driving me nuts. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm hearing the song, and the video was the two of them on stage in a real concert. I guess they didn't have enough money, Atlantic Star. They didn't have a big hit yet to go out and make a fancy video like Duran Duran or Aha or something. So somebody had a video camera with them on stage singing Secret Lovers. And it's driving me nuts that song's been in my head all day. I'm getting a headache. It's a good song, Secret Lovers. But Wayne Lewis of Atlantic Star, is that him in the video? Because he's aged a lot. I saw a picture of him this morning. All right, yeah, Secret Lovers. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian.
Yep.
Brian, Michael from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Hey, Michael.
You mentioned the Atlantic Star. The song I recall was Circles. Will It Go Round in Circles? That was one song.
How's that one sound?
And I used to be a Goodhuma ice cream man up in the Greenberg area of New York. And David Lewis and Wayne Lewis, they were brothers. And they were both part of that group, Atlantic Star. And the song is Circle. Will It Go Round in Circles?
I don't remember that one. I would probably... Now, which one was in Secret Lovers that's in my head right now? Was it the one who died or Damon?
I think the first one was Circle. That's all I remember.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. Poor guy. All right. Appreciate the call. Okay. I know you're getting old when the people whose videos you used to watch on MTV are dying now. He was only in his 60s, and the 60s ain't what they used to be. All right. No, but, yeah, just a little personal... Oh, before... I have not had a song stuck in my head for years, and it's driving me nuts. How do you get a song out of here? I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's, though. I love this thing. I love it. You get a notification on your phone every time there's movement in the front of your house, and you get that notification, and you can see who's there no matter where you are. And you might be at Publix, or I'm on our cruises, I'm out and about, I get that notification, I can see who's there, and it's nice to have. It really is. It's great security to have on your home. And you can get a doorbell camera from Slomin's for free with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for the doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right, now listen to this. Do I have time for this? They have been finding, we're talking about people paying for things. They have found boxes of brand new bionic shields among the demonstrators in LA.
Describe where it just feels like something's going to happen and you're waiting for it to happen. And you can look around, you see the National Guard in front of the federal building. But as far as this intersection where we're seeing all this.
Okay, so this reporter is there, and while he's speaking, they zoom in, and the protesters have brand new boxes of these things called bionic shields. They're face shields, and I guess they're used for like construction work or something, but they're being given face shields. It's called the UVEX Bionic Face Shield. It's made by Honeywell. It's a face shield designed for rugged jobs. This is what it says on the advertisement. It's tough when it needs to be, extremely lightweight and balanced for all-day comfort. It gives protection from airborne debris. You have excellent optics and visibility. You can replace the visor. It's to protect them from getting hit in the face by the rubber bullets that the police are shooting. Who's giving them these shields? Brand new shields. It doesn't give me the price. How much are they? I don't know how much each one is. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We'll be back right after this break. Wow. Okay, somebody sent me the No Kings stuff. Patrick in Colorado sent me the... I'll give him credit when we get back. I'll take some calls first. Okay, we'll be back shortly, a little more than a minute. Does anybody else have secret lovers in their head now? Like, because I brought it up, it's driving me freaking nuts. Secret love. Here's the chorus. I'm not going to sing it. Secret lovers, that's what we are. Trying so hard to hide the way we feel because we both belong to someone else, but we can't let go. Oh, my goodness. Because what we feel is oh so real, so real. Oh, my goodness. Yep, living in a lonely world. Oh, my goodness. All right, we are back. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. And let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. It's
Hey, Richie. Hey, Richie.
I want to address that young guy you talked to at the very beginning, the 25-year-old.
Yes, from North Dakota. Was it North Dakota or South Dakota? I can't remember. One of the Dakotas he was from.
Yeah, the due process. What kind of due process did Biden give for all those people for the last 4 years? Well, not Biden. It's a minute. Whoever was with the auto pen.
Yeah.
What process did they get? They just came in like a herd of elephants.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is, if you took everyone and gave them what this kid wanted, you would take probably 200 to 400 years to deport. Impossible.
Yeah.
And first of all, the federal government has already offered these people $1,000 and an airplane ticket out of here to self-deport.
And many of them have taken that offer.
Right. And if they're afraid, the community, they're afraid to go to supermarkets, churches, and everywhere else. They should be, because they don't belong here. They belong out of the country.
What I was trying to explain to him, there's due process for illegals, but it's not the same as it is for American citizens. It's not like an episode of Law and Order, right? Where you get a jury trial of your peers and all that. It's a different process.
Right. You always bring up when you go on cruises that we have to have documentation, because if you get off in one of these countries and you get in, you won't get out. You end up in jail. You just can't walk into a strange country. What makes these people from all these countries think that the United States is any different?
Yeah.
The problem is this, okay? I'm going to come right straight to it. The Democrats don't believe in borders. They believe that this country does not belong to the United States of America. It belongs to the world. And they believe there's no illegal immigrants. We're all immigrants.
Well, just those of us that are descendant of white Europeans were illegal, but everybody else is okay.
You know, you do realize that California is just a starting point. Ronald Reagan got duped and gave all those people amnesty, which was the worst thing he could do.
It was a big mistake.
Like rabbits.
Yeah.
And now look what's happened to California.
All right, I appreciate the call, Richie. Richie's right. I mean, it's sad to say Reagan's got a lot to do with it. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes.
Richard from Pompano.
Hey, Richard, what's up?
Can you hear me?
I can indeed,
okay,
yes.
You know, I'm watching the protests, and the same comments are coming about, look at them. How do they get these banners and flags and they're paid activists? And then the name Soros comes up. Is there any way that he can be arrested for
No, first of all, I'll tell you with the Soros is more of a boogie. You know, we were finding out he was getting a lot of money from USAID. Everybody goes to that. No, there's some other reporting going on that China's funding some of these organizations. So that are in Los Angeles. Yeah. Chinese spies are very active in California. We have, we've had a couple of high profile instances of this.
Okay, just makes me angry.
No, Soros is kind of like a boogeyman kind of thing. I'm not saying he's good and I'm not saying they don't do anything, but what they do is they're not the only ones out there, okay, that are funding these liberal activist groups. That's just a knee-jerk thing that people say that don't really know what they're talking about. That the Chinese government is organizing and funding a lot of this because they want dissent in the country. That's what the Soviets used to. The Vietnam War protests were funded by the Soviet Union. It was to cause dissent in the country. That's what the enemies do.
Yeah, that bothers me even more.
Mm-hmm.
That the Chinese, that bothers me. They're buying up farmland. That shouldn't be allowed.
No, it should all be seized. All Chinese-owned land should be seized and sold to Americans. Yeah. I appreciate the call. Appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, sorry, Brian. This is Danny from the Turnpike. We lost connection, but
okay.
Yeah, man. I lived in California for over 20 years, and it's a long time coming. And God help those people out there, man. There's a lot of good people out there, and like you said, I listened to your radio the other day. There's a lot of MAGA people out there, man. Feel for those guys. And I moved to Florida because I love it. MAGA, all the way. Donald Trump, baby.
That's right. Where in Florida did you move?
Down here in Broward.
Oh, so you moved
Beautiful.
to a blue county, a Democrat county.
I know. I came. I was like, I didn't know where to go. God help me, and that's what he did, man. He got me out of California.
Yep.
I pray for those people out there.
All right.
I got family out there. I tell them all the time and say, hey, man, it's beautiful out here in Florida. And last year I voted for Donald Trump right there.
Awesome. That's great. Well,
Yeah,
welcome to Florida.
Yeah, thank you. I love it out here, man. It's a big difference.
Let me ask you, what kind of accent is this that you have?
It's from Southern California. California accent.
Well, this is the problem. I mean, you sound Mexican.
Yeah. it's a Southern LA County.
This is a Mexican accent. You can call it an LA accent. It's a Mexican accent. That's how much they've taken over Los Angeles. Is they've replaced the Valley Girl accent, like oh my gosh, with Mexican accents.
Exactly. I believe it, and it's not also the Mexican. It's heavily run by China. California is run by China, from the ports to the government, from everything down there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's a different country. I tell you that. I got people I text with over there, and we text all the time. I'm like, man, that's pretty wild. From the fires the other month, and it was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad fire. I've been fires over there, and that one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Burned down the whole Palisades.
Oh, you're that new.
Oh,
so you've just gotten to Florida.
Yeah, last year.
A lot of people when they first moved to Florida, I see this a lot happen with people I've known in my personal life, and they come from these Democrat states. It's like you're free now. It's like you've escaped East Germany or something. It's like you feel free in Florida.
100%. I couldn't believe the difference night and day from California.
What do you mean when you say there's a difference? What's the difference that you see that makes you feel so good?
I mean, everything. It's just everything. Nobody down my throat on the taxes, to the gas prices.
Oh yes.
To the plastic bags. Brian, they charge you 10 cents for plastic bags over there.
Oh, at the grocery store?
Unbelievable.
At the grocery store?
Yeah. To the point where you're in the grocery store and you're like, no, I'm not going to buy that stuff because I got to buy 2 plastic bags. And you end up spending $1 on plastic bags.
Oh, my goodness.
And you just throw it away.
Well, don't.
It's unbelievable.
Well, that's crazy. I know when my daughter first moved to Los Angeles and she told me that, I couldn't believe it.
Right. No, I'm glad. I think your daughter moved back. I'm glad.
Yeah,
it's
she's back.
unbelievable. I was like, oh no, she's going to California, and they make it all glamorous in Hollywood, and this and that. But I mean, it's not really good for families, man. I'm glad I moved my family out here. Thank God. And it's unbelievable.
What do you do for work? What do you do for work?
We do construction. I do construction. So
I mean, you must really know. It must be really tough to be in the construction business in California when you have so many illegals taking the high-skilled construction jobs.
Yeah, that's another story. I mean, a lot of times you got the construction workers. They're hardworking people. They want to work. They want to get the job done. And also what's going on is, they take their money back to different countries, and they take it. Well,
that's right, and they take the job away. Well, listen, welcome to Florida. I got to run, but take care. I appreciate the call, and it's good to have a. But you see what I mean? The Californian accent is not, the Valley Girl accent is gone, and it's been replaced with the Mexican accent that they call it a Los Angelino accent. Oh my goodness! It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey there, hold on. If you're new, guys, make sure you subscribe, all right? We are back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. And it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Great. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, doing this for almost 25 years, being an estate planning and elder law attorney, it's not just about making sure that people's estate plans are set up where the right people are getting the right stuff, the wrong people are out, and avoiding probate. That's all super important, and we deal with that. But it's also making sure that we don't run out of money before we run out of life. And doing this for so long, sitting with so many individuals and families, I know this is a huge concern. I mean, there are people who have considerable wealth that still worry about what if I need care, what if my spouse needs care, and how are we going to pay for it if we don't have long-term care insurance or don't have enough of it. And so that's why we do the free consultation when it comes to going over your situation, because most people jump to the conclusion that they have too much assets, too much income, or both, and that's not necessarily the case. And also, as I mentioned to you last week, we are bringing back the Medicaid planning seminar, and we're actually doing it on a Saturday. We've gotten a lot of feedback that people can't make our workshops that we do during the week. So we're doing one on Saturday, June 21st at 10 a.m. at our Boca Raton office, and all you need to do is call our office and schedule and get your seat, because it's in our office, so seats are limited. So if you want to come, please make sure you call ahead and get scheduled.
Yeah, and this is one you don't want to miss, because I don't know when there'll be another Saturday Barry Siegel workshop. So you want to take advantage of their workshops, but they mostly are during the week. It's very rare to have one on a Saturday, so take advantage of that. And don't forget that when you call, it's a no-charge in-office consultation with the Siegel Law Group. When you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program, if you'd like to go to that workshop, you can also call this number, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, Brian. Thank you.
All right, you take care. All right, back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. It's JJ from Mass.
Oh, hey, JJ.
Hey. I want to talk about the media a little bit, but first, this due process fallacy thing is driving me crazy. I don't think there's an easy way for this kid who called up to find out. I mean, he can just go look at it. I mean, Article 1, we've got legislative, executive, judicial. All three of them have courts. Okay, the executive is the administrative civil court is the immigration court under the executive, under the DOJ. Due process is just going before the judge. Your Honor, there's a major war going on in my country, and I'm in fear for my life. Well, we just checked. There is no war. You're going back to your home country. Have a good day. It's literally, it's not one of these, 15 months.
I got to tell you, when the internet was new, and people may not remember, do you remember what the internet was called when it was new?
No.
They used to, Bill Clinton, the information superhighway. Remember that? They called it. That's what Bill.
Remember Gore.
Yeah, Gore used to.
Gore saying
he created it, and it was called the information superhighway. We didn't know what the internet was, and I mean, and what we thought when the internet was new, that people were going to be so well informed, they were going to know so much about everything, and it's really made people dumber. Because
it's the opposite. Yeah,
it really has it is the opposite, and it's not just because there's a lack of reading. There's more reading than ever, but the brainwashing is at its highest level in the history of this country.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad stuff, really.
It is.
It's like they know, like when a young kid types in something, the search engine, the algorithm, it knows it's the young kid. It almost leads them to the dumb information opposed to the real information.
To turn them into a Democrat. Yes. That's exactly. I mean, that kid had everything. They don't get a jury trial like you and I would have if we got into trouble.
Yeah, we would never go to a immigration court because we're U.S. citizens.
Years ago, I'm not going to say which one, or where, but one of Steve's daughters got stopped by immigration in a foreign country, not the United States, and they got stopped. They had a boyfriend there. And they had a pamphlet for a school in the country that they were entering, and this foreign immigration. I don't want to say which country. Steve, I probably shouldn't even mention it. Steve's gonna have a heart attack that I'm mentioning this. But because the immigration person at this other country found a pamphlet for a school in their bag, they totally detained them. They held them for a long, long time, and then they sent them back to the United States. Because they thought that the pamphlet meant they were going to stay in the country illegally and go to this school, and that's what happened. And I've told this story many times. When I first started in broadcasting, I had a job opportunity in London, England, and because of the immigration laws, I couldn't take it. It was very strict. Every country.
That worked out really well for you that you didn't go, Brian. Oh my God, did that work out well for you that you didn't go?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I did. I know. Wasn't that awesome? Thank you. Thank you, England.
With what's going on over there now?
Oh my goodness!
Especially with what you're doing here.
I don't know. I might be married to a Muslim woman in a burqa.
Yeah, you never. Well,
I'd be playing the Muslim call to prayer on some radio station somewhere. 5 times a day. Now.
That's hard to imagine.
But no, but there's immigration laws all over the country, and we even
other
have
countries don't play. They don't play like it's. People don't understand. I mean, I've been to a lot of different countries, and. You mind your P's and Q's. You can't be an idiot in these countries.
Remember that kid
they don't play.
Remember that kid years ago that I can't remember what country it was. Was it Thailand that was vandalizing cars and he got caned?
I don't remember. There's so many stories.
There was this young American. He might have been an older teenager, and he vandalized a bunch of cars with his friends. And he got arrested, and they caned him, which is they hit you in the back with the cane a whole bunch of times. It was a big controversy. When you're every country has their laws. I don't know why ours.
It's probably Southeast Asia somewhere.
It was,
that caning, caning. That's one of their.
And that's the way it is. I mean, you take a chance. I mean, Greta Thunberg, she was taking a big chance with the Israelis. Let Greta Thunberg off very easy.
Yeah, Greta is a God. What a sad.
It was
sad
Singapore.
situation.
Someone told me the caning thing. I remember that. The kid, I saw the kid on Larry King. It was so long ago. Larry King was on the air. After he came back to America, he was on Larry. Or remember that this went into tragically, but that warm beer guy, that kid that went to North Korea and vandalized, and he tore down. He tore off the wall a poster of the leader, and he went to prison, and they sent him back here half dead. I mean, and I feel bad for the kid, but you go to North Korea. First off, why would you go to North Korea and you're going to commit vandalism in North Korea? Are you out of your mind?
The point being is that the American population, especially young kids, they're not. I mean, they're a little not. They're not too aware of things, and they go out into the world, into other countries where you don't get to do the stupid things that they do here.
Well,
They get killed.
And the other thing is that the millennials and Gen Zs are so lazy, they don't want to work, right? Like you heard that guy, he was 25, he told me. All these jobs that Americans don't want to do, construction work. He said landscaping. I got landscapers that plant trees and stuff at my house. They're American people. It's good. It's a good living. Just because he doesn't want to work doesn't mean other people don't want those jobs.
Yeah, again, it's sort of the fallacy of due process, the fallacy of them thinking that Americans don't want that job. They've just been programmed to think a certain way, the Democrat way, which is basically all about the lie. Now, we've been on the phone for a while, so I won't go into this media. I'll try to bring that up again. I was going to talk about the media a little bit. But
no, talk about it. I talk about it. Go.
Okay. All right. Well, it was basically the media, the Democrats, they pretty much lie all the time. But every once in a while, and the reason they lie because they know they can get away with it. But every once in a while they lock on to one, and it's like the gigantic. They make it the big lie, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that one big lie was Abreu Garcia.
That's right.
So, and what they did, to me, what took place in the Trump administration, and I don't know if this was the long play, if this was always, or they just fell into it, but it is, to me, the perfect trap, because now the big lie, all the lies they told about this guy, he's coming back. He's going to be in trial, and they're going to have to cover this trial. They made it such a big – they're not going to be able to walk away from it. So they are going to – one of the big problems we have, major problems with the media, is they don't cover stories that prove them wrong or make Trump look good.
Yeah.
But they have to cover this trial.
Well,
it's like a trap. They're cornered.
Well, President Trump, a lot of what he's doing is an election strategy in 2028. President Trump has taken out the two leading contenders for the Democrat nomination. Newsom's out now. This thing here, this is a disaster. And if you remember,
He looks like an idiot.
Yeah, and remember with Governor Whitmer from Michigan, he kissed her on the cheek and brought her up to speak at his event. She's done. So he took out their two leading contenders. Right there. Boom. And the Garcia thing, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know what led to bringing him back. I don't know why I really don't.
I'm telling you what I truly believe it is, Brian, is that, number one, it's the perfect trap. They have to cover it. Truth can overcome the lie here in this particular case. The media have to cover this story that proves them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that proof of the truth over the lie creates Democrat voters to come to. It takes those people that are leaning. They've got the good angel on one side, they've got the devil on the other shoulder. They're kind of leaning a little bit towards Trump is, all this stuff I've heard about Trump is wrong. And then finally, this one story can tip them over, and then they realize and they look back and they say, I've been lied to about everything.
Yeah.
My God, Trump is the best president.
Yeah, he is.
These Democrats are evil.
He is. All right, appreciate the call. Take care. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I was talking about this earlier in the show. This is amazing. I'm wearing a T-shirt today that is, it's a little out of date because it has this really super cool image of President Trump wearing sunglasses, and it says, "I'll be back." And he's back, okay? But so the shirt's a little out of date, and I'm wearing this shirt today because I think it looks cool anyway. But this shirt is 3 years old, but it's also brand new at the same time. And I'm talking about Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and what does this have to do with my shirt? I'll tell you, it's amazing. About 3 years ago or so is when Steve and I did that appearance at the Festival Flea Market, and they kicked us out. Remember that? I was there like 12 minutes, and they kicked us out, all these MAGA people. But before I went there and met all of you guys. I went by a T-shirt shop because they had this Trump shirt. And I didn't know what size T-shirt I wear because, like most married men, my wife buys all my clothes. I don't know what size. Like, because I lost all this weight, my underwear didn't fit. So I had my wife get me some new underwear. I don't know what size underwear I wore. I don't know what I wear now, but my wife, she got me new underwear. That's how most of us married guys are. But I was by myself, not with my wife. So I bought 2 of these shirts, one large and one small, because I did not know what size I wore. Well, I came home and put the small one on, and it was so tight, it was like ridiculous. So I put that away in a drawer and forgot about it and wore the large one for the last 3 years. And I just came across this shirt I bought 3 years ago. It was tight as you can believe. I mean, it was so tight on me. Now it fits perfect because I've lost so much weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It's amazing. This shirt is a small. I bought it 3 years ago, and I wish you could have seen it when I tried it. I would never have taken a picture of me wearing this shirt before I lost all the weight. I looked ridiculous. You know, it was kind of maybe a little bit like the Michelin Man. I don't know. Maybe it was pretty bad. But I got a brand new shirt now with a cool look on it because I lost all this weight. Losing weight's amazing, and not only do I look better, I feel better. Not just emotionally, because I feel better about myself because I look so much better now. But also, I feel better physically. I have more energy. I was able to cut my coffee drinking by 50%. I lost about a pound a day with no exercise, eating foods I would normally eat, and without prescription medications like Ozempic. Coastal Weight Loss Secret works. And I know a lot of you have been calling them up and taking advantage of this incredible opportunity to lose boatloads of weight like I've done from all over the country. No matter where you're located, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. Here's the number. Now, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel, okay? 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlasssecret.com. We'll be right back. If you're new, guys, make sure you subscribe, okay? Oh, boy. Oh, I just hit my chin on the mic. $30 seconds. Call is on hold, standby. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Never Trumper Steve here in beautiful Palm City.
All right, what's up?
Brian, I wanted to go. I keep hearing you say this, and I think you believe in the Trump school, which says if you keep saying something enough times, people will believe it.
We're going back to due process.
And that has to do with your saying that that the illegal immigrants have to have jury trials, and we can't possibly do that with 25 million people being illegal. That number of 25 million sounds more than a little high, but I don't want to get into the number. There's nothing in the Constitution that says jury trial. In fact, Garcia was before a judge. These are judge trials. They're not jury trials.
I never said that it did.
Say that again?
I never said that it did say that. I was talking to one of your brainwashed liberal youth of the age of 25 earlier on the program, and he was under the impression that illegals, when they jump the border illegally or they're here legally as a visitor, that they have the same due process that you or I as Americans would have if we got arrested, and they don't. It's a different process. It's due process, but it's a different process in many instances.
Well, yes. If you're an illegal, you're likely not to have a jury trial. You go just before the judge, and the judge makes the decision, as the judge did in 2019 with Garcia. Unfortunately, the Trump administration took a pass. The judge says you just can't deport him to El Salvador. You can deport him anywhere else.
You know, Garcia, listen. Garcia, we've established, I don't want to talk about Garcia. We're rehashing stuff from like 2 months ago. He had a trial with a judge. An immigration judge said you're deported. He appealed it. The appellate judge upheld a lower court decision to deport him. That's his due process.
Other than El Salvador.
No, that was an excuse. No, that was a number. Excuse me. Hold on. Slow down. That was a number of years ago. There was a gang that was threatening him that's no longer in existence. So that's not relevant today.
Yeah, the immigration judge found him credible that he was in fear of his life, so he can go anywhere.
But I just don't understand. You know what I don't. This is what I. Okay, but this is what
they brought him back for one reason.
Yeah.
The polls are against what the Trump administration did.
This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand about people like you. Okay? And I mean liberal people. Why are you sitting here defending a slave trafficker because he's a human trafficker who beats his wife?
No evidence yet.
His wife went to a judge and said he beats the crap out of me, and she had black eyes and was bloodied. Okay, so I don't care about Garcia. I'm talking about you. What is it about liberals? I never hear you stand up for the rights of Americans. You're always standing up for the rights of illegals, foreigners, and terrible people like Garcia. I don't understand it. What is this fetish that you guys have?
I'm talking about due process. Listen,
what is this?
You do not.
What is this?
You do not believe in the Constitution.
I believe it exists. I've seen it on the wall at the National Archives. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, I do believe in it.
Trump should ignore
you mean do I support it?
Order.
No. What is this?
That's against the Constitution.
Whatever. What
I
is
believe
this?
In the Constitution.
What is this fetish that
I'm just saying he deserves the trial he's going to get.
Explain
and if he's found
to me
guilty, he'll go to jail.
Why I don't.
And if he's not found guilty,
Steve,
because the main witnesses
Steve, I'm going to hang up on you
if
you don't stop over talking me. I'm going to discontinue the call. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and you won't stop talking. You got to slow down. Okay?
Go ahead.
Why is it that when I talk to liberals, you and others on the phone, all you're doing are talking about illegal non-citizens? I don't hear you advocate for American citizens. What is this obsession and fetish you have for others? Well, we got one right now. Or what's going on for the Battle of Los Angeles. They did a big roundup of illegals at Home Depot, and your friends are taking to the streets and throwing bricks at federal agents.
If you take a poll, and I know they're going to come out soon, they already have, Americans have a problem with people who have an anchor in this country for 5, 10 years, and all they were doing when they went to Home Depot was trying to get a day job.
That's illegal.
Americans have a sense of humanity about them.
That's illegal.
Maybe you don't.
That's
but
illegal.
American citizens feel that's wrong.
Yeah, well, it's illegal.
Right now, there's a 9-year-old that was picked up to
Yes.
be deported. A 9-year-old. We've got
No,
a 4-year-old
that's not.
girl
You,
with cancer
excuse
that is
me.
being deported.
No,
Americans
that's
have a
not
problem with
true.
that.
That's
They
not
have
true.
humanity in them.
Excuse
I guess
me.
You don't.
That's not true. The kid with cancer is not being deported. That's not true.
No,
Are you aware of this?
Not yet. She's supposed to
No,
be
no, no.
deported.
Hold on a second. The kid with cancer is not being deported. What's the true story?
I don't know more about it other than what I've said so far.
Their mother is being deported. They are not. There's 2 kids. One has cancer, one does not. They're being taken by their mother, who is being deported. Her mother, the mother of the kids you're talking about, has made a decision to take the children, including the one with cancer, back to her country. Their father is in the United States. So those kids...
And it's questionable whether she signed papers and knew what she was signing.
No, no. Oh, so you did know about it? So you did know about it? Or you didn't?
I don't know.
Then what, so either you knew about it and lied, or now you're just making stuff up. No, the mother is being deported. They have a father
breaking
here.
up the family. Breaking up the family.
Well, when you do crime, you might get yes.
Americans don't like this going on.
No, hold on a second.
We let them in,
no,
right or wrong.
no.
You know,
You're not gonna.
person-
Excuse me. You're not gonna get away from this. I'm gonna do this with or without you. Okay. This is a very interesting moment with you as a caller on the air. You talk about the kid with cancer being deported. You said you didn't know anything about it other than what you said. I told you what is the truth. The mother is being deported. The kid is not. The kid is born in the United States. Their father is here. The mother has made a choice to take the child with cancer back to their country and not leave the child here with their father, and there's other family members too. Then you started telling me hold on. Then you told, well, how do you know it's been disputed? Because a moment ago you told me you didn't know anything about the case. Now you're saying it's being disputed?
It's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. As you discussed it, it's coming back to me. That much I know, that the father wanted to keep the kid. The mother supposedly
So the
papers
mother has made the decision to take the child out of the U.S. when they have family here. So that child is not being deported. So either you're lying or I don't know what's going on, but you're telling or propagandizing.
I have a general problem with families being broken up.
Well, then don't do
crime.
crime. If I go out and commit a crime today and I go to jail, who broke up my family? Me or the cops?
They came in illegally. That's it. What crime did the mother commit?
Entering the country illegally. Oh my goodness, that's a crime. Oh my goodness. The mother, by being an illegal into the country, broke up the family. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey. I have to whisper because I'm working on the election.
Okay.
You told me yesterday that you would ban me if I spoke about the flag again, but you start talking about the flag today.
No, this particular... Listen. Over the years, a lot of the... don't take offense. Before you disagree, let me say what I'm going to say. Okay. Over the years, many of the chronic callers to the program have had mental illness, okay? A lot of people call shows that are mentally ill. What I've learned about people that suffer mental illness, a lot of them have one issue they obsess on. You've been calling in about this stupid thing about the flag on some government website. It's not an issue. We're not going to discuss it. I told you yesterday, you've got to move on or we're going to stop talking to you. And here you are talking about this website flag again. We're not talking about that.
Why would you talk about flags today? But then you flag.
We're talking about the Mexican flags with an L that these protesters are waving in Los Angeles. This has nothing to do with this website obsession that you have.
Oh, but you know what the problem is? I guess I do have an obsession with it because whenever I'm right.
No, you're talking about it again, and we're not going to. No, we're not. I'm not. We're not going to talk about this website.
I didn't speak about it. I didn't speak about it. I'm in the bathroom, and I can't.
You're in the bathroom? Flush the toilet.
I said.
Let me hear it. Flush the toilet.
I'm not going to get up and touch that toilet.
You said you're in the bathroom. Let me hear the toilet flush.
I am working on the pole.
Well, why can't you flush the toilet? If you're in the bathroom, why can't you flush the toilet?
Okay, I'll go in here and flush the toilet just so you can hear it because you're a jerk.
That is not a toilet. No, that did not sound like a toilet. I don't know what that was. Oh, my goodness. He can't even lie about what room he's in. Did that sound like a toilet to you guys? That was not a toilet. Oh, man. Let me talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas and annuities. You know, I love Jupiter Joe Thomas and annuities. I mean, this is great. You know, I don't understand why people are all into this. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice, and I'm not doing that now. Call Joe Thomas. For over 30 years, he's been in the financial planning industry. He'll give you educated, expert advice. I'm not qualified, but I do know this. I don't like anxiety. I don't like stress. I don't gamble. And I don't like the markets and the stocks going up and down, up and down. I've had money in the stock market quite a bit in my life. And it makes me sick that, oh, man, I made this much money today. And then tomorrow I'm like, oh, I worked too hard. I worked too long to see my money go up and down. And when you get invested in annuities with Jupiter Joe Thomas, no matter what happens in the market, your money is safe. And you have a revenue stream. You're earning money, a guaranteed income stream in your retirement for the rest of your life. That's the kind of investing I like. It's a sure thing. Give Joe Thomas a call. He's offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States. Here's his number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. All right, now, as we go to break, did that sound like a toilet to you, that noise that Jay made? I don't know. We'll be right back. Hey there, hold on. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you're new to the program, this is obviously where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, guys. Let me know in the chat, yes or no. Did that sound like a toilet flush to you guys? Why would he not want to flush the toilet? If he's in the toilet, that's where people think he's in the bathroom. Isn't that what he's supposed to be doing in there? Some say yes, some say no. Maybe he's a bathroom attendant. All right, it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking very firm again after a nice gain yesterday for all four metals. Gold yesterday trading in a range of $3,292 on the low all the way up to $3,338. And closing out the day at $3,324 the ounce. That was up $15 on gold. Silver up 17 cents, closing out the day at $36.65, while platinum, big gainer, up $53 yesterday at $1,222. If you remember, we a month or so ago we were recommending platinum when it got so cheap. Palladium up $29 at $1,076.
Wow.
Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of 33.01. Again, going down there, testing that 3,300 support number, holding it very nicely. and then going up to $3,343. Right now we're at $3,338 on gold, up another $14. Silver down 5 cents right now at $36.60. Platinum down $2 at $12.20. And palladium down $14 at $1,062. So the market's very firm, still trading in nice ranges. The white metals moving up consistently, with gold getting closer to that $40 number every day.
Absolutely. Well, listen, guys,
silver getting closer to the $40 number every day.
And silver's amazing. You know, we've been talking about some of the great buys in silver. How's the 90% silver looking right now? Is that still a good buy?
Still a great buy. Yep, you can buy the 90% silver for just a fraction over the silver value.
Yeah, that's amazing stuff. Listen, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. And remember, all the metals are available for immediate delivery, guys. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Or you can give them a call, and you can do your transactions over the phone, guys, at 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And find William Youngerman's address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. Take care. One of our listeners, I'll try to fit this in before. I'll take another call or two. But one of our listeners sent me the No Kings information that the caller from Miramar called in about earlier. I'll get to that in a bit. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, once, twice, you missed out. All right, let's go here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, Brian?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was recording. Cheryl from Iowa.
Yes, Cheryl.
Yes, hi. I wanted to wish you a happy Father's Day, and I was so glad to hear that your daughter came back to Florida.
Yeah, me too.
And I was concerned. We all moved back from California, and we're so glad to be out of there. And we're in Iowa, of course. But
yeah, it's not Florida. Yeah, like my daughter's coming over to the house today. It's nice. I've seen my daughter more in the last week than I've seen her in the last 2 years. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's
that's
nice.
Great.
It's
well, I
nice.
wanted to wish you happy Father's Day, dear.
Okay, I appreciate the call.
And,
Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's James from Boca.
Hey, James.
With everything going on, I believe it's time to deputize the vets and any man that can help with this endeavor to remove all these people.
No, that's a terrible
I personally
idea.
am
That's a terrible idea.
I don't think so.
No, that's a terrible
I've
idea.
been run over almost. I've been stabbed in the last 4 years by illegals. Nothing happened.
That's
to
all the better reason to not send you to
that-
L.A. We definitely don't want you in L.A. You've got an axe to grind. You're gonna,
No. It's
yeah.
not so much about the axe. It's about the fact that nobody, no cops, the judges, nobody's doing nothing.
No, okay. Well, no. We don't need that. He'll be like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Raw Deal. Okay. I should have. He got stabbed by an illegal. I forgot to ask him about that. Oh, I wanted to get this in though before the end. Patrick from Colorado, who goes on our cruises, he and his family, great guy. He texted me. So you go on some of you guys that go on the cruise, you get my cell phone number. So Patrick from Colorado, he texted me the information that lady from Miramar called in about the No Kings protest on June 14th, which I had not heard of. And it's a nationwide thing. It says, in America, we don't do kings. They've defied our courts, deported Americans. By Americans, they mean South Americans. See, this is one of the things they've done. This is Newspeak right out of George Orwell's 1984. Since we call ourselves Americans, anyone from the Americas is an American now, according to the left. Canadians are Americans, right? If the Caribbean is part of the Americas, so if you are in the Bahamas, you're an American, right? They've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets. Who's been disappeared off the streets? Attacked our civil rights and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. On June 14th, we rise up. Find an event near you on the map below. Oh, okay. And Florida is covered. Okay, let me see. Let me look here. Oh, yeah. They're all down the Port St. Lucie, all the way down through all of the Palm Beaches, Coral Springs, Fort Lauderdale. Kind of stops in Hollywood, Miami Beach, the city of Miami. Oh, my goodness. They're everywhere. Let me click the one in Boca. Let's see here. The No Kings Indivisible Boca Raton Car Caravan and Rally from 9 a.m. to 1:30, Saturday, June 14th. And it gives me the location, which I'm not going to give out the locations. Oh, Delray too? Oh, my goodness. They have them everywhere. I don't know exactly what this means. Upcoming calls and training? Maybe I should take the training. Disappeared in America, mass call. They got another thing going. Oh, that one's already passed. There's a tool. I can host an event. I can have my own event if I click this button. In America, we don't put up with would-be kings. No Kings is a national day of action and mass mobilization in response to the increasing authoritarian excesses and corruption of the Trump administration. We've watched as they've cracked down on free speech. Detain people for their political views. I missed this. Who's been detained for their political views? Threatened to deport American citizens. Who's deporting American citizens? And defied the courts. They've done all this while continuing to serve and enrich their billionaire allies. They may want to drop that last talking point there, since this must have been written before the Elon falling out with the president. On Saturday, June 14th, we're taking it to the streets nationwide. We're not gathering to feed his ego. We're building a movement that leaves him behind. The flag, with an L, doesn't belong to President Trump. It belongs to us. We're not watching history happen. We're making it. We're showing up everywhere he isn't to say no thrones, no crowns, no kings. Join partner organizations representing millions of Americans to organize local demonstrations against the Trump administration takeover. Register your event, recruit, and build to show the stakes of this crisis and the resolve of the opposition. Oh, my goodness. Okay, before you set up your own event, check to see if there's any in your neighborhood. Okay, now here's the host toolkit. Oh, my goodness. No More Kings, right out of Schoolhouse Rock. I like No More Kings in Schoolhouse Rock. Let's see here. Here's resource. And I already read that. A National Day of Action, State of Play, why we're mobilizing, hosting your own event. Hosting a No Kings event is a big opportunity and a big responsibility. If you sign up, you'll get plenty of support from the No Kings team and be the primary point of contact for anyone in your area who is interested in participating. You know, what this is about, it's about a lot of things, but I don't know who's behind it because they don't tell you. The Democrats, they've lost their activist base. And what they're attempting to do is build up a new activist base. Now, before, we end today, I want to say, I know a lot of you are going to look this up online. Do not go to the events. Do not go to the events. They want you to go to the events so they can stir up trouble. You do not want to go to these events, okay? Don't go. These events are not happening unless there's MAGA people there, okay? And this is how January 6th happened, right? I remember there were flyers sent out before January 6th, and I told people then, do not go. Remember I told you guys, don't go on, I said that on the air, do not go. I told that to people before President Trump's, everything. Don't go. The January 6th thing was being promoted much like this. Liberals are the ones who organize these events. We have Trump rallies that are pretty spontaneous. And anything that sends out flyers like this are things that Republicans don't want to go to. It's a setup. It's a trap. You want nothing to do with it. So stay away from these King's protests. And for all I know, the lady from Myanmar that's never called is one of their clever people calling in to get us to talk about it, and which she did, because I'm talking about it and sharing it. But it's a warning. Do not go to these events, even though they're everywhere, okay? I'm telling you. They're not safe. When I went to that Elon Musk protest at the Tesla dealership, you've seen my video online. it was not. I was nervous. It was scary. These liberals are vicious, violent people, and they're looking for trouble. And if you go, you're giving them an opportunity that you don't want to give them. So don't go. Now, before I go, though, I want to tell you about MyPillow.com. I did an informal poll in the chat room earlier this morning. What's the must-have MyPillow product that everyone should have? And there were several things people said, but one of them was the pillow. And the MyPillows are life-changing. And I know it seems crazy that a pillow could be so life-changing. Before I had a MyPillow, I tried every pillow there is to get a good night's sleep. The foam fitting pillow. I had a bamboo pillow. I had every pillow out there. The bamboo pillow cost like $200. Did nothing. I got my MyPillow with that patented fill, and that patented fill keeps your head and neck perfectly comfortable all night long. You never twist and turn all night. That twisting and turning interrupts your sleep. And MyPillows also make great gifts. You can use our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the pillows, but they make great gifts all year long for every occasion, including Father's Day. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. My name is Brian Craig. If you're on hold, hang in there. You'll be first in line on the program at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Thanks to you guys and our audience. Thanks for your support year after year. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. God bless America, and God bless President Trump. All right, we're clear. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. I got a very busy day. I'll have a new podcast sometime today, so keep an eye out for that. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. If you're already subscribed, please like the video and share the program on all your socials. That really helps a lot, all right? Take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.